Hello.
You're not skipping the intro yet?
Check. Is this on? Nope. I love it. Fucking love it.
Starting to warm up to it. I was a little disappointed at it when I first sent it.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I could have done a better job. There's something missing there. But now
Yep.
I'm listening to it and it fits. It works or something.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. And it's a great lead into the Alex Dayrabekovs show. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
There's
Hello, my
that smiling
friends.
face from Ukraine. Look at that boy. Good boy. Nice.
I feel like a Backstreet Boy today. I feel like we're on the Backstreet. Like we're doing like a Backstreets back. All right. Like I feel like all the boys are here today. Alex Dayrabekovs at Dayrabekovs on Twitter is where you can find him. Let's just give him one more round of applause. He joins us live from Cherkasy, Ukraine. Good to see you, my smiling friend. How are we today? It's always a shitty question to ask a guy in the middle of a war, by the way. So how are you?
Hello, buddies. So sorry for being a bit late. We were in, as I probably told you, we are doing a collection of testimonies and evidences for the international courts, and we just had one eyewitness, and it took us almost 2 hours to listen to him because his story was really, I cannot even pick up the word for it. It's not, I cannot say fascinating because it is obviously not very fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Don't ever
saying,
apologize for being late. Number one. I told
yeah.
you that it's your show, right? It's always your show. So we start when you start. We just pulled the trigger because I knew you were coming. So we'll start there. We got a lot of good news to get to. Obviously, Alex is in Cherkasy, Ukraine. He's been with us every Tuesday for the past 2 months, 62 days, day 62 of the invasion of Ukraine, the invasion of a peaceful people by Russian terrorists and racist pieces of shit led by Vladimir Putin. We've got a couple of videos to get to today, but I want to just quickly touch on what you said, and I know it's tough, but that's something you're still doing. Obviously, you're still going around and collecting eyewitness testimony from people, and where you were, you obviously weren't counting on being there for a long period of time talking to this gentleman, and I don't know if you want to relive it or if you even can. But these are stories that are still coming out that people need to hear, right? This is why we talk. This is why we do this on a weekly basis. So, are you starting to uncover even more, some of the stuff that you're hearing, obviously, and the stuff you've shared with me, which we'll share with people today, is egregious. But what are you hearing, and what are you seeing today, and what are you documenting?
Guys, my hairs are gray. Some of it is gray, but when I hear such stories, it gets grayer, more gray. Well, I can share. Well, it is not really nice to hear, but the guy was captured. I don't know if it's the right word, captive. Yes,
Yep.
He was
held captive.
Yeah, he's a civilian. I think 20-something-year-old guy. 20 years old guy. In north regions of Chernihiv Oblast, the ones that were occupied by Russians in March, and he stayed in captivity for only 5 or 6 days. So I thought, well, not too bad, it's not a month. But what he was telling, it was just, there were like 15 of them, and they were kept in a cellar, and they were given water, only water, but they didn't even drink it. You know why? Because the guys were not let out to go toilet. So they decided they better not even drink water. Because if anyone would piss in their pants, the Russians would come and take them out and hit them and beat them badly. And they beat one of the guys badly. The guy could not even stand on his legs. He was crawling on the floor, and they would come every day and continue hitting and beating him. And finally, they took him out and killed him. So, this is just, the more you hear about those stories, the grayer my hair becomes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, these are like, I was reading yesterday how they're finding these little darts in so many different people in and around Bucha and Irpin, and we're going to get to Irpin in just a second. But these little darts, like they're called flechettes, I believe. I don't know if and they're finding them in hundreds of people. And what Russia did was, and it wasn't bad enough that they are holding people captive and tortured people and committed genocide and like women, children, rape. I mean, just these stories that we're hearing on a daily basis that you have to cover. And I'm sorry you have to cover it, but I know that to whom much is given, much is expected, and people like you are here for a reason. So thank you. But the stories of these flechettes where they would like fill these tank mortars, fire them at people, and when they would explode, so that they could do as much collateral damage lock as possible. There was these little tiny darts, and they're literally, doing autopsy after autopsy, finding these little flechettes, which should be illegal at this point. They're like from World War I. That was the last time they were used. And it just goes to show. I mean, what you first hear and see, Alex, when you start uncovering what's going on, the levels of depravity that have been committed, and the depravity of the war crimes, it just continues to escalate, doesn't it? I mean, the stuff that you keep finding out.
Yeah. I hear more and more. In fact, with this specific case, there's some findings, insights that I have not heard before, or I have not thought about before. For example, we knew that when the Russians came, they thought they came here to liberate us. And turns out they really thought so. Turns out from many stories that I hear that they really believed, they were so brainwashed that they thought, okay, we are coming to liberate you guys. And why are you so angry at us? That's what they said to many people. Why are you so angry? Why don't you meet us with, bread and salt? Why? We just came to liberate you. And gradually they started becoming more cruel when they realized that we are not meeting them with bread and salt, that we treat them as true enemies that came to our land to capture the land, to kill us. Mm-hmm. And they started to be more cruel. In fact, this guy told us that on the last day of his captivity, when the Russians already foresaw that they were being kicked out, one of the commanders in the morning, the commander came to the place where they were kept, and he said he came with a bottle of vodka. Can you imagine this? In the morning, he came with a bottle of vodka. He drank it, and he said, "Now you guys have to decide who I will take to be killed. I need three corpses. You guys decide between yourselves."
Jesus.
And there were 2 volunteers who actually said, "We want to do that." And then from what I heard, I understood that he was probably given an order, and he probably didn't even want that much to do it, but he just had to do it because there was an order to kill 3 people. Mm-hmm. That is like
hard to I can't compute. I mean, you don't obviously understand it, and it all starts at the top, right? It all starts with Putler, and it all starts with Lavrov, and I want to get to that today. I want to get to, the ongoing aggression and what is being met in Ukraine by proxy, because Lavrov nailed it yesterday. He's like, hey, listen, you can't fight a war by proxy in Ukraine. We're fighting Ukraine. You can't come in. But I mean, getting to the good news here, I'm starting to see, and I got to wonder if you're starting to hope against hope. Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense of the United States, said, hey, listen, Ukraine can win this war, and we're starting to see that. We need to flood the zone. We got to get as much help into there as we possibly can. Like, the Ukrainian people have given themselves an opportunity for the time to meet up with the opportunity, and that's kind of what's happening. Now, one of the things that I read today, and I wanted to get your opinion on it and kind of find out what you know as well, is Canada, the United States, Great Britain, Germany, France, England are all sending a ton of anti-aircraft stuff, the weapons that you've been asking for and begging for. for the past several days. So sorry, 2 months, not several days. To that point, I want to bring up this video, if you don't mind me playing it. This is your day 62 video. If you follow Alex, which you can and should,
I just retweeted this.
As you should. Yes, thank you very much. This is a video of Alex talking about day 62 and that very thing, that the people of Ukraine have held out long enough. The people of Ukraine have seen enough. They have enough of their brothers and sisters and fathers and uncles and nephews and nieces and cousins have been murdered innocently, that is enough. And I think the international community has heard that cry. I'm going to get to it after the video. Here's Alex.
Day 62. I'd like to thank every world leader, every prime minister, every president who made it to Ukraine these days. It is so important that they see with their own eyes what is happening here. While the West is afraid of the dictator, we are preparing for the worst. While the US fears to irritate the Führer and steps back from sanctioning his wife Kabaeva, we are preparing for chemical attacks and nuclear strikes. Everyone who is with us these days should come and support us right here.
Yeah. Now you filmed that yesterday, obviously day 62, or today, yesterday, depending on, what country and time zone you're in. But that was a reference to yesterday. Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, said, hey, listen, not out of the question. We might nuke might nuke Ukraine. Not out of the question that we're going to use these chemical attacks and chastise the West. But at the same time, today, reading that there are hundreds of pieces of heavy equipment coming into Ukraine that have actually been organized in Ukraine. So what do you know about that, and what can you tell us?
Oh, actually, I made this video in the morning, and then several hours later, the summit in Ramstein started.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know, more than 40 world ministers of defense got together to discuss specifically how to help Ukraine with weapons, and how to help Ukraine to rebuild after the war is over. Mm-hmm. Of course, the question number one is of primary importance, and the outcomes are very good. I'm really happy to hear what the Minister of Defense of the United States said. He clearly said that the messages and the statements were so clear that the West is going to support Ukraine as much as possible to make sure that Russia cannot do it again anymore ever in the future, which is very important, which is really cool. More and more weapons coming, and we've, of course, it is not communicated always clearly what kind of weapons and all. Mm-hmm. We know some of it, but I guess there is a large portion of this iceberg that we don't know, and it is good that we don't know, because it's not communicated. The enemy doesn't know, and then and there's a surprise, like in Brent's.
Well, a bunch of surprises too, right? Locke's got a question, and I don't mean to interrupt him, but a bunch of surprises, because they're sending in like legitimately the things that Zelensky has been asking for, the people in mm-hmm. Parliament have been begging for, which is that heavy artillery, guns on the top of tanks, anti-aircraft missiles, SAM
specifically
systems.
to help them with the planes, right?
Yeah,
like that's one of the bigger issues that we're dealing with right now, and then the weapons that. The long range weapons that they're using to just bomb indiscriminately cities, from a distance. If they can set up these weapons to knock down the artillery coming, it'll help, right? Obviously, it'll ease everything. So mm-hmm. that's a big part of it, right? And that's what I think you're talking about, because I think they're trying to be pretty cloak and dagger, Alex, about what we are sending you, because they don't want it to be common knowledge. They don't want this to be reported on CNN. and CBC.
Well, and
right?
that part of that thing too is, Alex, is, and you just mentioned it, is that, you know, they're saying, hey, we're going to send you a couple things, but there's literally, like you pointed out, this is the tip of the iceberg, and every country now is saying the same thing. And I read a report this morning in the Wall Street Journal where they were talking about how quiet they have to be about what they're doing. Like, I don't know if you know this, but enough parts for those MiG-29 airplanes that the Ukraine Air Force has been trying to utilize. You actually have 20 more planes in the sky than you did when you started this whole thing, and no one knows those things because people are just flooding the zone quietly.
Yeah.
And while that's going on, Alex sent me this incredible picture / video of Russia trying to get stuff into position, and they can't even do that because they're so fucking useless. It's unbelievable. Describe what video this is, Alex, and take us through it, because my God, it made me laugh for like 2 days straight.
Oh yeah. That's obviously somewhere in Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look at
and
this.
here is a surprise.
If you're not watching this, there's a whole bunch of tanks with like on rail cars, and they have all derailed off the rail track. So all the extra equipment they're trying to get down into Ukraine, they can't even fucking do that right. Meanwhile, the rest of the free world, 40 countries, are literally shoving as much heavy artillery into your country as they can. I mean, that's got to fucking feel great looking at that video, hey?
Yeah,
You know what's... I'm torn. I kind of go back and forth with my feelings about how we've handled this, Alex, and I'm at a point where I'm not comfortable with what's happening, but I'm at a point where I'm feeling better about what we're doing to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So at the beginning of this conflict, I think I think a big part of the reason why Putin did what he did was because he perceived weakness around the world. He perceived this divisiveness in Western culture, and he wasn't wrong. And I think he looked at the leaders in the major Western countries and said, "Now's the time for me to strike." Because leadership is weak. And I understand where he's coming from. So he moves into Ukraine, and we don't immediately help out. A couple of days goes by, a week goes by, and people start to realize this war is being fought in a very different way. We're seeing it in the West very differently than any other international conflict we've ever seen. And all of a sudden, the people of Ukraine are starting to rise up, and you guys are fighting back, and you're creating this sort of energy around people around the world are wanting to help. And so everyone is we're playing this game of cat and mouse with Russia and Putin, and trying to figure out how far they can get. And we're getting a little bit more confident as the days go by. And it must just be excruciating for somebody in Ukraine to watch this process, because you needed help right away. You didn't need help 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, 6 weeks later. You needed this kind of help immediately. And the Western world was a little bit worried about how to help, because they did not want to escalate this. Now, what's interesting now is, and Dean brought up the word proxy, we are now fighting this war against Russia with you, and you're winning, and it's benefiting the world from a couple of perspectives. One, it's taking Russia out at the knees, and we're realizing that
it's
this
changing
country,
the perception too of what we thought Russia was. Yeah,
I still think everyone is cautious about, because they've got their finger on a button that everyone's scared about. But the overall perception of this military might and this bear of a country has been diminished immensely by you, Alex, you in Ukraine. And then now we're able to kind of weaken them even more. And then the other thing I'm trying to find positives here because I've been very, very bothered by a lot of things. I think you've heard me talk. The stuff that drives me nuts is NATO not moving in when you guys come to an agreement on a corridor for safe passage for fucking citizens, and then Russia turns around and does something like bomb the shit out of it. I think that NATO, when that first happened the first fucking time, should have been in there and fucking guns blazing. I don't care how concerned we are about nuclear weapons. If they backed out of one agreement, they should have fucking dealt with it right then and there. And that didn't happen. And it's continuing to happen, which drives me absolutely crazy. So I'm trying to find positives here. And this is the one thing that I came to the conclusion over the last couple of days. It's brought the rest of the world together. And you guys are responsible for that, Alex. And I'm giving you something that I'm trying to hang my hat on to hide the guilt I have about watching you guys go through what you're going through without the help you should be getting. And that's one thing that I think history will dictate down the road. Years and years and years from now, Ukraine is going to be responsible for galvanizing the Western world and getting us back on the same fucking page because there hasn't been a lot of that in 10, 15, 20 plus years.
Do you feel
that's
that,
you
Alex?
Guys?
Yeah. Do you feel that? Do you feel like, did you watch what happened in France? Are you watching the rest of the Western world get together at Ramstein Air Base? Are you watching the rest of the world put aside their differences to work together in the best interest of you? Like, do you understand? Do you understand
that's you guys.
The catalyst for unity, global unity that you and your brothers and sisters have been?
Well, Lach, you got it like 100% right, and thank you for this. I was just listening and applauding to what you were saying, because this is exactly what is happening, and we do feel, especially within the past several days, we feel that this is the West finally realizes what is going on. And what you said, you said one important thing about responsibility, and we touched base on it, within the first our first talks. This is all about responsibility. We are a mature country. We are 30 years old. Actually, we turned 30 years old last year. Ukraine is 30 years old. We are ready to take responsibility for our country. The West was not very much sure about us. They thought that we are still a bit childish and not mature enough. Why would they support an immature nation that can do whatever with the weapons? Yeah. So I understand the logics. The West was like, okay, we're not gonna fight for them. If Putin wants to take this land and this land will not defend themselves, so be it. And in many cases, the West underestimated us and our ability to fight for freedom.
And your resolve.
Everybody admits it now. And then, and Zelensky, when Zelensky talked at the München conference several days before the war started, he did very good. He did a speech of a responsible, mature nation, of a responsible, mature president who said, well, we are going to fight. We are not going to lie down in the graves and wait until we are killed. That's that was his phrase. We're not going to lie in the graves and wait until we are killed. We will be fighting, regardless of the West. We are alone. We know it, but we will fight. And once we started fighting, then the West started realizing that, oh, wow, these guys are very responsible. They're responsible. They need support, and they started giving support. First, a little bit. Germany, before the war started, they provided us with 5,000 helmets. Well, it was kind of okay, at least something.
Yeah.
at least something. But
it's
it was really
embarrassing,
strange.
Alex. It's
Look
it's
at
embarrassing.
Germany now. Yeah, look at Germany
Yeah.
now. They are giving us more and more weapons. So even Germany realized that we are capable of dealing with it. We are responsible enough to deal with it, and we have taken this responsibility not because of Zelensky. This is lots of Ukrainian people, young guys. By the way, in the beginning of the war. Big percentage of senior officers of the Ukrainian army actually fled. They escaped the country. They were like, oh no, we are not going to fight.
Scared.
And in many cases, I'll just give you an example. A group of 50 Ukrainian soldiers who were, what is the word? I'm missing some of the words. Those who were called to the army.
Conscripts?
What is the word?
Conscripts.
Yes,
like draftees.
conscripts.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, the commander of this group of 50 conscripts was 22 years old. 22 years old guy, the commander. So they were in Chernigiv Oblast with their guns, and they saw a convoy of 30 tanks. And they decided to fight. Any other more experienced soldiers, they would just go, "Oh no, let's just leave it."
It's almost like the ignorance of the conscripts and the ignorance of these young men that just love their country, right? Like they're not jaded, they're not scared, they haven't heard the war stories. They're like, yeah, fuck. I mean, we got the shit. Let's just go kick some ass and see what we can do. And that's really the amazing part is that. The people of your country, come hell or high water, they showed up and the rest of the world is sitting there going, oh my God, those are real individuals. Like, and we have to help them. We have to maintain that relationship with those people. And we can talk a lot about geopolitics, but just from the perspective of humanity, right? To watch this go on for 62 days. And then to finally hear rumors and stories of what's been happening behind the scenes, and then to finally get this commitment from everybody else. And that is part of it. That's a beautiful story. It's part of the story. It's part of this war. It's going to be told for generations. I was thinking about you today, the stories that young Artur is going to be telling his kids about what his mom and dad did, refusing to leave, being part of the war effort. It gives me chills just talking about it. But it's bigger than that. And I think that's what Locke was alluded to and did such a great job kind of explaining is that you are making us look inside and go, this is not how we act as a community of global humans. This is not how we act. What we do is we put down our cultural differences and we come together and we make sure that we take care of people because that is the greater good. You have changed the tenor and the tone around the world. Because you have 22-year-olds and you've got you and everybody else filling the gap for your country, right? Like that is the unity that you're providing, this world and these people is truly incredible. And so enough. I don't want you to get a big head. I mean, we're blowing you up and talking about the beauty of Ukraine. But I also want to talk about some of the good news that's been going on around this this war, and specifically when it comes to your friend Putler. Real quick, can you tell me why he has that nickname? What is Putler? Why not Putin? Is Putler just your way of saying this guy's a fucking piece of shit? Is that what it is?
Well, since 2014, when they started the war, when the war really started, it started 8 years ago. Some people started calling him. Putin Hitler. So it's like a combination of Putin and Hitler, Putler.
I love it. Because every single text you send me about this piece of shit is, hey, look at what Putler's doing. Speaking of which, you sent me this video. We played it yesterday. This is your boy Putler meeting the dude from Belarus, the president of Belarus, Lukashenko, I believe is his name. And you point out.
He's a piece of shit, too.
They're all pieces of shit.
The Belarus guy's got a.
Oh, he's going to get a NATO bullet in the head soon, too. No worries. But this is unbelievable. This is Putin meeting Lukashenko, and he's clearly got some kind of neurological disorder, right? Is this being shared around Ukraine? And look at that wobble too. Jesus Christ!
It's the walk. The hand, like everyone's pointing out the hand thing. Like we've watched this video 100 times now. The hand is definitely, there's something going on there, but it's that hitch in the walk. That's not a healthy. That's not a healthy man. Like there's something going on there.
What are the rumors in Ukraine? What are you guys hearing about this?
Excuse me, and just look at his right leg. He's like, it's also,
hitch.
yeah. There you go. I don't know if you know, there is a Medusa opposition media in Russia, which is prohibited in Russia. But they did research on doctors that follow Hitler. And there's a list of doctors that follow him wherever he goes. And among the top 3 is his oncologist.
So he's got a cancer doctor. He's got a neurologist with him as well. Dean was saying yesterday.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like a head doctor.
So are they saying this is cancer? Like, is that what they're saying, Alex? Because he's got an oncologist with him at all time, or is this like what is this? What are they saying that it is?
Oh, that research also says that about 10 years ago, 2012, he fell from a horse, and actually he admitted it himself. In an interview, he stupidly says that, oh yeah, I fell from the horse, but it was okay, it was fine. And then those guys from this opposition media found out that after that specific date when he fell off the horse, for several days he was away, and there were doctors who probably, and some surgery doctors. And anesthesiologists who probably did some surgery for him. So it looks like he has a problem with his back, with the leg, but there's no official information about it, of course.
It's his whole right side, Alex. Like, if you look at it, it's his whole right side is right, and Alex has got a huge smile on his face. Like, usually when you're discussing someone's like fatal disease or neurological condition, you're like, oh, that's a shame. Every time we play this video, Alex's smile gets a little bit bigger because Putin looks like he's gonna cack soon. But like that, it's his whole right side. So you can see it. Like it's, and I showed this to several doctors that we've had on the program. A couple of neurosurgeons have weighed in on it, and they're like, they cannot diagnose it, obviously, but they said that is 100% a neurological disorder / disease, and it is affecting his right hemisphere or his right side, and it is going to move to his left side, and it is only a matter of time. These are end stages. When you're starting to see your entire body sort of get the shake when it comes to any kind of neurological disorder, these are end stages of that neurological disorder. So it's not like it's going to take a long time for, and the other thing is like, what a fucking show of weakness that is. What a weak individual to be able to, not show yourself in any kind of state like this for like the last 10 years. And now he is like the Russia itself, and the people that, walk around with, weakness. You can't show weakness. You got to show toughness. You can't show any infirmary. Like, he's got to run out the clock here, Alex. We're talking about not only his health, but we're talking about the embarrassment of Russia's leader looking like he's weak, and you might be able to take him out. Like, how many people in the Russian oligarchy are looking at that going, we got to get him out at this point? Like, his troubles just got way worse, did they not?
Oh, did we just lost him? You know what? There are a couple of stories about the oligarchs as well. In the last couple of weeks, it's sort of hit and miss, but the odd one has spoken out. A couple have died about speaking out in public about Putler. But Putler, I love his commitment to the name. It's fantastic.
Isn't it awesome?
He is such a good guy. Alex is just. I am such a fan.
Yeah, he'll be back. He just froze. He'll come back in just a second unless they lost power. But either way, I mean, Putin is fucked. I mean, not just fucked, but like and I can't wait for Alex to come back. But not only is he seen as weak, not only is he getting his ass kicked, not only have they pulled out of Kyiv and pulled out of Irpin and Bucha, not only have they we've seen all kinds of failure when it comes to equipment. Not only are all the people that are involved in this totally brainwashed and not working for the man, but the dude is absolutely sick. And on top of it, the Ukraine, did you see this video? Did you see them bomb that Russian fuel depot in Bryansk?
I did.
I think is the name of it. My God, the video that you see, and this is in Russia. The Ukraine isn't just sitting back. Ukraine isn't just sitting back and going, we'll just keep taking bullets until we can get some better shit. They're going on the offensive. This is like a massive Russian fuel depot in Bryansk, Russia, which is a couple hundred miles south of Moscow. And it's a staging area for everything in Russia is doing in Ukraine. It's where they get their fuel. It's where they reload. It's where they resupply. And they cannot do any of it right now because the Ukrainian military has gone, let's go fucking get some shit. And they did it. And these weren't planes. These weren't planes. These weren't drones. These were individuals that managed to actually get there, put a laser on that site, and then they lobbed some I guess, strategic guided missiles into this thing. And they've legitimately destroyed their ability, Russia's ability to restage, refuel, and resupply. So all those douchebags are fucking stuck, right?
They're smart.
They're incredibly fucking smart.
Very strategic about how they're fighting against and fighting back. There's still a group in that steel mill in Mariupol as well. They're still they still haven't completely 100% taken over that city, and they've obliterated it. Like the last time we talked, which was last week, I think, about Mariupol, they had bombed 85% of the buildings in that city, which is one of the cities in the west, or in the east. Sorry, we were just talking about. There's still a group that they're stuck in Mariupol, but they're still fighting back in that steel mill, right? Have you had any update about that one group?
Well, there's updates every day from them. There's videos that the deputy commander films and puts on the social media, and of course that's really dramatic. And well, I don't even know what to say. But the I don't know how to call this news. The Russians are. I don't know if you know about this tradition in the ex-USSR space to whitewash the curbs, the curbs of the road before they make holidays.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a generally accepted tradition in this part of the world to make them white. Mm-hmm. So that's what they're doing in Mariupol.
That's what Russia's doing?
Yeah.
So it's and Mariupol is just destroyed, right? 85%.
Yes, they are destroying Mariupol on one side, and they are whitewashing the curbs to probably do the parade on May 9th, which is a victory day in Russia.
Yeah,
and bring those prisoners of war along main streets, which is clearly a war crime.
Yeah. So what Alex is talking about, Locke, is they've basically captured Mariupol, and the goal is by May 9th for Victory Day, or Russia's Victory Days. They want to have legitimately a parade on top of all the people they've murdered, like legitimately, and then bring everybody out that they've captured and parade them down the streets of Mariupol as well. Like these are our trophies. These are human beings. That's what he's talking about. Am I getting that right, Alex?
Yeah. And there's still lots of civilians in those bomb shelters
stuck, and the steel mill in particular. They've got, they still haven't been able to completely take them out. Right, that there was a group of soldiers and civilians, Ukrainians that took up refuge in that mill.
Right.
Yeah. And they've and I'm hoping they can somehow resupply them. Right, get them get them some reinforcements, right? Weapons and people. So
I hope they bomb the fuck out of that parade. That's what I hope they do. I hope the Ukrainian people fucking get on the stick. We were just talking about Bryansk. How much joy did this give you? This video. Look at his face.
Oh, that was so. Just Blinken and State Secretary Blinken and Austin, the defense minister, came to Ukraine on the night of Easter.
Mhm.
Several hours later, we saw this.
yeah,
So,
here's your Easter bunny.
Yeah, there's your presents. We're gonna hide some missiles in your fuel store. But this strategically, this is really ballsy for the Ukrainian army, right? Like this is reaching into Russia and saying, "Fuck you." Like fuck you. And talk a little bit about, if you can, how important that city and it is for resupplying, restocking, and restaging too.
Oh, there was a center for oil transportation to Europe. So apparently,
Good.
One of those centers was hit,
Yeah.
plus a military base,
Yeah.
plus some part of the railway,
Mm-hmm.
which is the transportation of whatever stuff to the war zone. So it was 3 in 1.
Nice.
And what is the most well, it is expected, of course. The Russian media is silent about it. Nothing. Like, oh yeah, there was some fire. Well, fine, okay.
No big deal.
Oh yeah, the warship sunk. Oh, whatever. Okay, yeah, there was one dead.
Yeah.
Others are disappeared. Disappeared what? In the sea? Yeah, silent. I specifically tried to find information about such things on Russian media or in social media. Back to the warship just a little bit. I looked at Sevastopol social media, some resources. There's nothing. There's only I counted about a dozen names of relatives who are looking for their sailors who obviously sunk together with the warship.
Mhm.
Same with Bryansk. Same with other cities. But what is good about this whole thing is that Ukraine is also silent about it. We are not okay. Yeah, there was some fire in Bryansk.
Yeah.
And the British defense minister said today that Ukraine has full right to use weapon, including British weapon, to target anything on the Russian territory.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even Ukraine who said that. It was the British Minister of Defense.
Well, it stands to reason, like, if a country is going to attack another country, and Russia has this rhetoric, like you heard it from Lavrov, you heard it from Putin, you hear it from all the fucking losers. It's the same thing as this rhetoric, like, no, we're the only people allowed to attack another country. And the second they get hit in their own backyard, the second that someone brings the fight to them, they're like, that's not allowed. It's like the most fucking childish, wienerish thing on the planet. Yeah. Like, it's like, when you stand there and you go toe to toe to someone in real life, you're like, I'm going to hit and I'm going to get hit back. That's the way this stuff works, right? But they have this fucking inferiority complex or something like that. It's like, whoa. You can't attack us back. You can't do that. And the Ukrainian people are like, watch us.
Yeah, but what they did, Russia did a protest note to the West for supplying Ukraine with weapons. So they're like, just like what you said, Dean. They're like a child. Oh, please. Well, we don't play like this. We are supposed to be stronger. We are supposed to be the barbarian. Why do you supply Ukraine with weapons?
Yeah, dude, it's fucking unbelievable. Yeah. Like the hypocrisy of what's going on, even just from a common sense standpoint. And I read it all the time. Lavrov and Putin are literally murdering tens of thousands of people on a weekly basis. And the second you fire a couple of rockets at their fuel depots, they're like, probably going to use nukes now. And you're like, and the rest of the world, I mean, the saber-rattling too. Do you guys take any of that seriously? Lavrov obviously said yesterday, hey, listen, we're going to use nukes if you guys don't chill out and stop supplying Ukraine with weapons that they need to defend their fucking territory. Did you take any of that seriously? Or are you like the rest of the world going, fucking losers, they'll never do it. They don't even have the capability.
Well, we discussed with my wife the possibility of a nuclear strike 2 months ago, basically on the first week of the war.
Yeah.
Because I told her, let's consciously discuss this, because, one thing is just to be afraid of it, and another thing is just to discuss it. Yesterday, after Lavrov said that, I saw on the news a clear instruction on what to do in case of a nuclear war. So we are getting ready for that. Guys, we are getting ready for this. We are not like, oh, let's not think about it. It's so bad. It's unimaginable. It is imaginable.
Well, that's a reality.
We got to be ready for that.
So that's a reality. I mean, what are they like? What are they telling you to do in case it happens? I'm fucking crazy that they're preparing you for it. But what are they telling you to do?
Oh, there is a good list of things that needs to be done. You got to get a supply of bottled water. You got to have this. What do you call it? A
face mask.
Yeah.
Gas mask. Yeah.
Gas mask. Yeah. You got to find a place, a bomb shelter, or whatever. The deeper, the better. And once it happens, you got to run. You got to cover yourself with clothes, like all this list of things. You got to go to the bomb shelter and stay there for several days, and then get rid of the clothes that you had wore. You got to have a stock of other clothes. So you got to consciously think of steps that needs to be done in case of a nuclear strike.
Have you been preparing?
Honestly, no.
No, but I mean, it doesn't matter. The reality is still there, right?
Yeah, the reality is still there.
Yeah.
Fucking wild, dude. Like, the thing I'm preparing for today is I got to pay a couple bills this afternoon. Like, and I'm stressed out about that because it just, and I'm just fucking, we are weak. God, this is just like, it's consistent. Two things happen every time we have Alex on. One, I stand in amazement at the strength and the character of your people. And then the other thing is I stand in amazement of the weakness of people in the West. I really do. But Alex, I want
this. We've had this conversation about how the Ukraine is a mirror right now for us to look in and look back at our own real seriously wildly trivial issues that we have right now.
Can I prove a point here? This is with Alex's own video. So you went back to your apartment building, correct? Like you went back to your condo. This, if I'm not mistaken, this is a rooftop terrace of a friend of yours. That's a mortar shell. Is that what I'm looking at?
Yeah. This, by the way, this site actually looks at Bucha, worldwide known now. So they shot it. They shelled it from Bucha side.
Okay, so that's from the Bucha side, and you were on the other side. This is another look at it from the inside. Like, look at that. I mean, look at how thick those fucking walls are. Man, they built things well over in Ukraine. And from that perspective, I mean, that's your place. But you sent me a video, and I want to play this video of your car. By the way, nice car. You get a sweet ride. Not that you've thought about your car over the past 62 days, but you sent a video of your car. And the video that you sent of your car is fascinating because I'm like, because Alex is like, hey, this is my car. But can you explain the video? I'll mute it, but explain why you sent this video of your car and the relevance of it, because it's fascinating.
First of all, I left the car with my friends at my friend's duplex, which was like on the suburb of Irpin, and we never thought that the Russians would go that way. But unfortunately, that was exactly the place where they had their front line. So they came to this place and they never went further. And they actually captured this specific cottage town. And they stayed at my friend's duplex. They had their
just moved in.
They moved in my friend's duplex. They left the shit out of it, But so my car was actually standing like 3 meters close to this duplex. So I actually thought, okay, I lost my car.
Шукали черті акумулятор спереду, але ж вони не знають, що в нормальних машинах акумулятор захований в подвійній підлозі під сідушкою водителя. Коротше, акумулятор на місці, все працює. Воно там все в склі, я там дещо те, що як зміг прибрав. Єдине, що я знаю, оце щось на багажнику, коротше, якась хернюшка, чи це було, чи це вони гекнули. А так машина, везунчик, тому що вони шукали, розбили твоє стекло, я тут почистив трохи, все, що лишилось від твого вікна. Зараз візьму ключі, навірно, виведу на ній, я її вже всю перевірив. Шукали черти акумулятор спереду, але ж вони не знають, що в нормальних машинах акумулятор захований в подвійному акумулятор на місці, все працює. Воно там все в склі, я там дещо те, що як зміг прибрав. Єдине, що я знаю, оце щось на багажнику, коротше, якась хернюшка, чи це було, чи це вони гекнули. А так машина в цілому в порядку. От такі справи.
Loaded it on a truck and they transported it to Belarus, and then it was found somewhere in Russia. The stupid guy even posted it on social media, asking others, "Oh, I got this X5 from Ukraine, from the war in Ukraine. How do I deal with the document?"
How does it work?
How do I start it?
Anyone know how I can change the oil? Sorry, back to your car. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So they wanted to take out the fuel. They actually went and took every fuel from every single car where they could get, because Ukrainians destroyed their support convoys with fuel tanks and with everything that needs to support the army, and they were just desperately looking for fuel. But I only had 1 liter of fuel, so they couldn't even get that. They just probably said, "Okay,
screw it."
Yeah, they could. Yeah, and it speaks to how fucking poor that army is. Like that's a 4 dressed as a 9. Like, I mean, they have. Did you hear what Alex said? They basically went around looking for fuel for their tanks because they couldn't get any fuel. They went around looking for batteries for their tanks because they couldn't get any batteries. Like that, and then they just kind of Airbnb'd in people's houses and just dumped all over the place and shit like that. Like that, it's almost like this is an awful net benefit. Like an awful net benefit is undressing and disrobing the Russian military machine as just a bunch of fucking crackpot losers that have no equipment, no idea what they're doing, because this was never the point. Like, I mean, just the corruption in that country. Like, I read something yesterday is that, the Russian generals have spent $10 billion of military money on their own shit. And so they haven't been able to upgrade everything. They haven't, and this is the problem that they have. Like, this is why, and not just the strength of the Ukrainian people, but just the absolute dereliction and the smoke show, the smoke and mirrors show, which was Russia, which is Russia. It's nothing, man. These people are nothing.
And it's going to get worse. I know the sanctions don't work right away, but the consistency with which the Western world has been hammering Russia with sanctions, and if this continues, which I can't see them changing the strategy right now from the economic, stranglehold they're trying to put on the country. I can't see that changing anytime soon, just based on how this conflict is going. And they're just going to bury this country. And how do you continue to justify that as a citizen? How do you continue to be okay with? They're already one of the poorest countries in the world. They have the largest separation from the wealthy and the poor of any nation on the planet. And so that's just going to continue to be an issue. How does that group of people, 100 million people, how do they not come together and go, we need some sort of a change here? And maybe it doesn't happen this week or next month or in the next 6 months.
But those sanctions will speed that shit up. Yeah, right.
You have to think that at some point, this group of people, and it's not even about getting rid of Putin. It's about making change on a level to just get your life back, right? Like, you got to start doing something. We saw it here in the States specifically when Trump got in. They really, really realized at that point something's fucking broken here. And a lot of people that would never, ever in a million years have gotten involved in politics, got involved in politics, and from a grassroots perspective started to make change. You have to think that on some level that's happening in Russia right now, right? I find it, I can't live with the idea, Alex, that they don't know on some level that what's happening to you people is wrong, is right.
I don't think they do, dude. Every time we talk to Alex,
it has to be.
Answer the question, Alex. What do you agree? Because I think they're brainwashed. Like, I think as long as you can keep that information iron curtain closed, no one's going to say anything. But there's going to be a point where someone goes to a grocery store and they're like, no dishwasher detergent? What the fuck is happening, right? Like, is that what's going to happen?
My kid didn't come home. What's happening?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, look, you're thinking with a Western mentality, with the Western thoughts. We are thinking in terms of, I'm also Westernized, Americanized, because I worked with Americans a lot, all my life, all my professional life. But this part of the world is not like this. Ukraine has shown, and this is, by the way, back to what you said about responsibility. The whole USSR and now Russia, as a natural ancestor, next stage from the USSR, they are irresponsible, and the entire system was made to dilute this responsibility and take away responsibility from the people. They are not responsible for anything, and they do not want to be responsible for anything. So I even me being a Ukrainian, Westernized but still Ukrainian, in the beginning of the war I was like, yeah, the sanctions will do the job, and in several months we will see that the people will start going out and protesting against this. No way. Look, this warship. Only a dozen of relatives actually stood up and said something. Said something in social media. Somebody said something on BBC. 2 people said on BBC. A dozen of people out of what? 400?
500.
Yeah. 500
people. Yeah.
Yeah, they said 375 people died on that boat, on the Moskva, right? And only a dozen people are like, hey, where's my kid? Where's my husband? Where's my nephew? Like, seriously.
Yeah.
That's how fucking closed off that world is. Like, we don't understand it. Like, we just assume that everybody gets information. They not only get none, he has literally blank slated that entire country without information. There is no alternative opinion other than what he allows people to see. Like, it is so hard. Like, to the point where, Alex, you've got relatives that you call and you talk to, and they're like, best of luck. Talk to you later. Like, no, we don't know what you're talking about. Like, that. That's how serious it is, dude. Like, the rest of the world knows it, but the people that are committing the crime think that this is just some special operation to heal the world. Like, that's literally what they think, Alex, still.
Yeah,
right?
But
there has to be a point. I got to wonder what month it is where food starts to run out, checks can't get cashed, people realize they can't get out of the country. Like, I wonder when that is. It's got to be in the next 3-4 months. It has to be. From what I've read, that they're like 12 years behind the rest of the world. Like, the sanctions have literally sent them back into time, right? Yeah. And it's going to take them 10 years to get to where we are today. So
think about the other thing. The longer
that lasts, the more that fucking timetable gets pushed back.
Think about the other thing with the sanctions. At some point, you're going to be having a conversation at the dinner table in Russia about the McDonald's closing down. Right? The KFC's all packing up, right? Like, there's just so many elements to these sanctions and the Western world pulling out of Russia that are not, you just can't explain them away. And maybe our timeline, maybe my timeline is too energetic or too hopeful, but yeah, that's crazy that only 12 spoke up. But is that 12 that went public?
Yeah.
How many of them are having conversations in the towns and the communities?
All of them.
And
dude, 24,000 Russian human beings have died since this whole thing.
Where's my kid? Like that you got to hope. I hope, Alex, and I understand that you have a much better grasp of how they're handling it in Russia than I do. But that's what I'm hoping, is that eventually those conversations start to lead to, all right, we're having a meeting on Sunday. It's a secret meeting, and we're going to get some people together, and we have to start. You don't think so, eh?
No,
you don't think they're.
So. No, I mean, it does. Go ahead, Alex. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, there are talks. It's the same as it was in the USSR. There were so-called kitchen jokes. So you could only say those jokes about Stalin, about Brezhnev. I don't know if you know those names. Those
Brezhnev, Stalin,
about Khrushchev, only at the kitchen, in a small kitchen, in a small circle, with friends. Yeah. So the jokes, the kitchen jokes. Yeah. Underground literature in the USSR. Beatles was underground. It was, the vinyl was distributed underground, so that not officially, not publicly. Rock music was distributed like this. Like there was lots of things going in the shades. Of course, there's talks like this, I'm sure, but they are scared. This is an empire that created a fear, a huge fear. Out of my relatives who I was trying to explain, just like to you guys, what I see as a citizen. Only one girl, my relative in Moscow, she wrote to me, Alex, I know, I'm truly with you with all my heart, but what can I do? What can I do? If I go out and say this is a war, I'm going to be prison for 15 years.
Yeah.
And the kid got to a hospital. She wrote to me, I was so stressed out with what is going on and with my inability to do anything that I got to a hospital.
She had a breakdown. Yeah.
Well, but I still blame them for that. Well, there's so many ways of doing it. Okay, I was like, talk to me, at least tell me what you think. There was no feedback whatsoever from anyone else. One of my relatives actually told through my aunt later. She said, whatever Alex said is fake.
Wow. Jesus Christ.
So they are so brainwashed. They think that my reality is fake.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing fake about you. There's nothing fake about what's going on around you. None of the pictures that you've sent us are fake. None of the videos that you're documenting in the war crimes that you've been documenting for the Ukrainian people in the international criminal courts. None of that's fake. And listen, we're, as always, behind you. We're right here. We are with you every day. I know we say that to you every day. Not only do we believe you, but you're our strength. I hope that we can go around with you and you get a little bit of gusto from us during the daily as you continue to go through this and you continue to fight for your people and help your people. And you're all of us. And just one last thing I want to play for you before we go, because I feel like this is the right thing to do. Let's watch Putler shake again, shall we?
Alex, you should be thankful you're going gray. Yeah, look at that.
It could be worse.
Look at that butthead. Look at this. I lost my hair when I had a kid.
You still got your hair, dude, and your car is intact. So there's some great news. Putler's going to die soon. There's great news. Thank you very much for being here with us again, Alex.
Good to see you, Alex.
Please follow Alex.
Thank you, Lachlan. Yeah.
These are my favorite days. Tuesdays are my favorite days.
Yeah. You look like $1 million still. And we're going to stay in touch, and obviously we're going to chat. But thank you, Alex. Follow Alex on Twitter at Dayrabekovs. You can see his name right there. It's just the Twitter ad, and we really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon, brother.
Thank you, guys.
There's Alex Dayrabekovs. Yes, we do. Of course, we'll stay in touch. We're always going to stay in touch with you. You're my friend. That is my friend.
They're gonna
so
fucking make a
proud
movie about that fucking guy.
They
make
should.
a movie about him. Yeah,
they should.
And we should plug the fundraiser that we're doing on the Dean Blundell show with the merch page. There's a T-shirt. I wore mine last week. There it is, Slava Ukraine, which means again,
glory to Ukraine. Glory to Ukraine.
Glory to Ukraine. That donate to Alex, the stamp with the guy from Snake Island fingering the Russian boat that is now in the bottom of the ocean. That's a box you hit on. You can make a donation there. You can choose the denominations that are behind that window, or you can put one in yourself if you want. We've had a bunch of cash donations. We've had the T-shirts have been selling very briskly the last couple of days. And we're going to shut it down on the weekend at the end of April, with the goal of trying to send him some money now, because his fundraising efforts are ongoing. So we might start something up in May, but this particular fundraising is going to come to an end as of Saturday at midnight. So get on it if you were planning on buying a T-shirt and helping out a cause. 100% of the proceeds are going to Alex in Ukraine to help him out with what he's doing. It's an interesting charity because there's no tax receipts. There's none of that bullshit. We're literally fucking sending this guy cash so that he can do what he needs to do with the group that he has organized in Ukraine that stayed behind to deal with this fucking madness. So we're trying to raise as much money as we can. Last time we did a count, we were over $5,000. So we'd like to send as much as we possibly can to him.
Yeah, we'd like to get to 10 if we can. We've only got a couple of days. If you can donate out of the kindness of your heart, we take nothing. We send all the money to him. And if you want a shirt, get a shirt. If not, please go donate. He's going to buy diapers, food for soldiers on the front line, diapers for kids.
Well, you know what he's doing now is he's getting
stuff like that.
He's helping people with the transportation of that shit.
Yeah,
like that's what's happening right now. He's keeping that supply chain open for people in need around Ukraine. Yeah. He was talking about the different levels that he's been dealing with. And his group there that he's put together have been doing this since the first weeks of this occupation.
First days, dude. Like in the first 2-3 days, he was in bomb shelters and trying to feed people, get them cookies, tea, microwaves, blankets, clothes, like that kind of stuff. And we don't think about those things either. But if you can donate, great. Go to the shop at deanblundell.com. We would certainly appreciate it. Please welcome back to the program from Blackballed the Podcast, Mr. James DeFiore.
How you doing, guys?
What is it with the beard? It's getting more luscious. You look it looks good. It's like you don't look so pale and so washed out. I like it.
A girl told me that she thought it looked good, so I just kept on wearing it because no one's complimented me like that in so long. So
seriously?
I'll just keep growing it. Yeah. So I'm growing it.
Looks
for a
good,
girl.
dude. Looks
why
good.
Why are you losing your voice? Are you in the
My
woods
voice
yelling?
has been like this for I don't know, like 2 weeks now. I was sick. Then I recorded some stuff, and then I exhibited marital symptoms of yelling. And and here I am again, though. Same girl. She's like, your voice is so sexy. I'm like, okay, keep it.
Yeah, it sounds good.
All right.
Well, dude, great to have you here. We were just talking. We were talking about the shop. We're going to talk about Elon Musk and a couple other things, including the Rolling Thunder Rally and Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports not being allowed to eat at certain restaurants here in the city, which is fucking hilarious. But I want to talk to you about your merch because you've joined the merch podcast page, and I'm really excited for your stuff because you've got a couple of things up here already. I had no idea you were. I had no idea your fucking logo would look this good, and I'm kind of jealous, to be honest with you.
Yeah, my sister did it. Kelly DeFiore.
I haven't seen
art director. Yeah,
I haven't seen this.
Yeah,
did she really?
Yeah, she's done everything for me that has anything to do with like logos or resumes or anything for like the last 20 years. But yeah, she's.
Oh, dude, it's
I
so
told
good.
her my vision. She did it, and I was like, yeah, change that and that, and it's fine. She did it in like 2 hours. It's great.
Yeah, we've got a ton of stuff on the merch page. Locke was just talking about Blackball is up there. Our Sheeple Shepherd podcast stuff is up there.
The Raps in 7.
The Raps
when did
in
that
7.
go up?
Joel Embiid crying.
That's good because it could work this year too, right?
You could work. You see that Raps in 7 pictures?
I don't know if we should have put that up. We might want to have waited for that one.
Well, they won last night. It's 3-2 in the series. I'm actually really excited. I watched the game last night. I don't know if you guys watched the Raptors game, but it's finally not an embarrassment to be a Toronto sports fan. Jays beat Boston yesterday 6-2. Big salami from Bo Bichette in the 8th inning, which fucking sealed the deal. You got the Leafs tonight. They've got the best record they've ever had in the history of the franchise. They're probably going to get pumped in the first round, but still, I mean, you're in it, right? You're going to get Tampa Bay in the first round, and then last night, down 3-0. They scratch out a win in Game 4. They scratch out a win in Game 5. Now you're going to Game 6. You're coming back. There's an opportunity, and Joel Embiid looks like shit yesterday.
He looked tired.
Dude, he was so tired.
Well,
and
he got into foul trouble
too,
so he was doing a lot of chasing too, right?
Yeah.
Because he couldn't. Yeah.
He looked like
it was
Patrick
incredible.
Ewing when Patrick Ewing played for Seattle. Remember? He'd get his lumbering frame off the bench for like 3 minutes and he'd bust a kneecap and pass out.
Nav was on fire yesterday too.
Hey, dude,
super
your
fan
microphone
Nav.
is super loud.
Yeah, you're super loud.
Yeah.
There we go. That's better. There we go. I was just typing.
Also,
that in.
wasn't that shirt, that Raps in 7 shirt where Embiid is crying, that's from the Game 7 that they won.
That's right.
In the finals, right?
In 2019, where they beat the Kawhi shot. That's the Kawhi shot
when
face.
he was crying in the back.
Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah. Can we point out the selection of the model too? I am all about that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's fascinating because I'm like, did we have to go? It's basketball, and I'm like, yeah, the model is an interesting thing, and the dude that made the shirt, he's like, well, it's basketball, and I'm like, yeah, but that's maybe not something you should say aloud.
Well, why do we have the
Scotty
white guy wearing a black ball t-shirt?
We went with a black guy for the tee because it's basketball, and I went, okay, all right, that's the story.
That was what I was afraid of. Actually, I sent Scotty a note. I'm like, that's kind of what I was afraid of. So thanks for confirming it. So hopefully we're gonna get that shirt on a white model later too, just because Do
we have any darts t-shirts that we can peddle? 140.
It's a basketball. It's a black guy on the shirt.
And I was thinking, I don't know if this is just me afraid of woke mob culture, but as soon as I saw he's like, hey guys, the Raps in 7 shirt is up at the DeanBlundell.com shirt. I'm like, anyone else have am I wrong in being afraid that's up there? Linz, is that am I way off? James, can you help me with that? Start with Linz. Your thoughts on the model for the Raps in 7 shirt? I'm just
I don't think Elon Musk would ban the photo.
No.
That's no.
We had a conversation.
It is incidental, and I had nothing to do with it. By the way,
It was not. It's. I think it's a problem now that we're making it a problem because it wasn't a problem yesterday.
No.
Leave it to Locke
Sometimes it's
to
good
fucking air
to
that
shine
too,
light
right?
on it. Sometimes it's good to put a little sunshine on these things.
Sometimes
yesterday,
it's good to put sunscreen
before
on
we
things, too.
played on the air, before we played the video of the little person getting let down from the balcony, I made a point of saying, I don't speak Spanish or Portuguese or whatever they're speaking. There could be some very awful language happening on my radio program right now. I apologize. Then we hit the video. You just got to say it out loud, right?
Sometimes you do. I wish you hadn't, but now that you did, I'm happy to address it.
I like how it changed from midget yesterday to little person today.
Oh yeah.
Dude, he is as woke as the day demands. This guy, he changed like the fucking wind. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Anyway, Ryan Lindley's back from the Sheeple Shepherd podcast. James D. Fiore from Blackballed the podcast as well. You can find both podcasts wherever you get your fine podcasts, including at DeanBlundell.com. Elon Musk, he's the reason for the season that we're all talking. I can't get over this picture of him in his late 20s. By the way,
so sexy.
So we've seen over the past few days, obviously, we know that Twitter is being sold to Elon Musk for between 44 and 46.5 billion, depending on what you read and where you read it. And yesterday there was a mass exodus from people from Twitter.
Was there?
Really? Apparently. Yeah, dude, they did 2 things yesterday, which I found really interesting. Twitter did 2 things. Is they did a big bot cleanup. You guys noticed you lost a few followers yesterday?
Yeah, I did notice that actually. Now that you mention it, I noticed, and I thought it was just because I was being a dickhead, but apparently it might have been Elon Musk's doing.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't Elon Musk's doing. What it was is they're clearing the deck for him to come in, and they have to address a whole bunch of different stuff. And so people lost, tens of thousands, depending on how many followers you had to. I think I lost like 100, or we lost maybe 100. We didn't have, but the people who lost the most were the people that bought bots for followers.
Like Pierre.
I didn't lose any. I didn't lose any.
How many did Pierre lose? Do you know?
Well, what did we figure out? What did that bot sentinel 40%. Tell us? Yeah, 40% wasn't like 198,000 of them or something were fucking bots, and it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So
but there's a bunch of shit going on. Like, I mean, and I want to get to the cultural part of this because James wrote a great piece on it. Depending on your ideological leaning, right? You either hate this or you're okay with it, right? And James, your perspective, which I thought was really good in a piece that you wrote, you can go look at deanblundell.com and read it. Your perspective was like, fuck, slow down. The dude's a pretty good business guy. He's got a decent track record. But are you surprised at the overreaction? Because I kind of am. Like, I really am.
I was shocked.
No, I'm not surprised at all. No, this is what we do now. Something will happen, and a bunch of people will lose their shit, either on the left or the right, and then the dust will settle, and it's going to be fine. Don't forget, when Twitter first started banning accounts, it was because of ISIS. ISIS were recruiting on Twitter. They were beheading people on Twitter. And so Twitter decided, okay, we're going to try to see if we can sort this out by banning accounts. But then, like in 2018, 2019, they started banning accounts for really frivolous things. Megan Murphy, the writer out of Vancouver, was banned permanently forever because she used the Wax My Balls person's birth name, and that's it. And that's why she was banned for life.
She dead named somebody and got banned for life, and the guy she dead named was a total fucking like pervert and creep. Is that correct?
Jessica Yaniv, who used to be Jonathan, and she got banned for life for that. And these are the types of things that people notice. I mean, you have to be living under a rock if you don't know that Twitter leans to the left, and their banishments are almost always things that lean to the right, and a lot of them are frivolous. It's interesting because there was I looked over the list today of all the Twitter banishments and permanent bannings, and some of it is like legit, like death threats and things like that. But some of them were really frivolous things, like that. The dead naming one came up a lot. There was one where they were making fun. Oh, there was someone was making sexual jokes about Tony the Tiger, and got banned for life.
He's great.
Because often it's also because of the reporting system that they have. Like they can,
Is that the Frosted Flakes guy?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So this is why a lot of us, feel that Twitter was becoming something that we didn't like. I don't think that when Elon Musk comes back, or sorry, when he takes the helm or whatever, that things are gonna like overnight become this like wild, wild west. What he said is that he's like, there's hate speech laws that exist in the United States. And those hate speech laws will be adhered to. And that's what he said. And I don't know what the problem with that is, really.
One of the problems that I see, and I want to get to it, but I just to dovetail what James is saying, one of the problems that I see already, which is fascinating to me, is the misinterpretation or the interpretation of what people think he's going to do, right? Mm-hmm. Because people attach everybody's business interest, to the quality of individual that they are. Now, Elon Musk is not a fucking quality individual. We all know that. This is not new, right? And I go back to the same article.
I don't know if this is common knowledge, Dean.
What, like that he tweeted a meme likening Justin Trudeau to Hitler in criticism of the Freedom Convoy, or when he donated and said fringe minority is actually the government, and tweets about the trucker protest and embraced the whole thing, like, or when he called that guy that wanted to go save those Thai boys in the cave, he called him a pedophile. Remember that? Like,
yes,
the dude is, and then of course his personal life, which doesn't really play into it. But
I thought you were going to talk about the other rumors, like
ones where he likes to get dumped on. Yeah, no, he likes to wear latex and German Schneider houses.
This morning, and I said, "Has anybody heard about these rumors that I keep learning about on this podcast I'm on?" Yeah. Because every day you guys keep dropping this stuff.
But listen.
Good choice of
words.
No
pun intended.
To James's point, and I want to ask you guys this because we have spent the last several years trying to attach someone's character to their ability to do a job or to be somebody or to do something, right? And I get that. I understand that. But people have an entire history of moral turpitude. Like, we all do. If we went into someone's back history that is really pissed off that Elon Musk got Twitter and wants to fucking leave Twitter because they think he's morally not the guy to be running Twitter, right? We would fucking never have anybody do anything or ascend to anything because everybody's got some history where they fucking have shit that they're hiding or stuff that they've done or things that they've said or ways that they've acted or events in their lives where people have looked at them poorly because of their own actions. And that is what we're talking about here. But Elon Musk, to my point, James, he's got a pretty fucking good track record as a business dude, right?
Yeah.
Like we can talk about the culture of who's being served if he ascends, and obviously he will, to the presidency or the CEO-ship or sole owner of Twitter. But this is still a fucking business that he has to make work because he just fucking gave up a fifth of his fucking net worth to buy it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he has it in an asset, so it's not really giving it up. But really, though, look at Twitter. Look what Twitter did during the last election. Do you guys remember the Hunter Biden laptop story?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it's a real, it's a true story. It's a legit story. But Twitter, like, I don't know what you would call it. That's not a shadow banning, but they blocked that story from being told in the run up to the election, saying that there was no proof. It could be propaganda, and it turned out the story was entirely true. If the owners or the board or whatever of Twitter were right wingers and they blocked a story that was detrimental to Trump, everybody would understand why Twitter has problems right now. And I think that the real story is that if you're left wing, you're like, I don't see what's wrong with banning the Hunter Biden laptop story. Well, of course you don't. You don't want Trump to win, but that is not what a platform is supposed to do. They're not supposed to tilt the scales.
That was my issue with it, James. Was that I am not a Trump guy, but I thought it was the wrong thing to do to ban him, like forever.
That's a tough one. Yeah,
that one's a tough one. But because what I did was what it did is just inflamed that side. I've got a little scenario here that's something that has legitimately happened to me in the last week.
You want some scenario music?
Absolutely. I need some scenario music.
It'd be Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll start with today. Today we were talking about Rogan, and I made a crack about ivermectin, and I made a crack about it being a horse dewormer, and I didn't say anything about him taking it. I didn't say anything. I just brought it up because it was part of the conversation. Got a text from somebody that was pissed off about me downplaying the possibility that ivermectin worked for COVID. And I said, are you fucking taking it? No. He goes, I'm just sick and tired of the left. He's criticizing me, the overly woke left, criticizing. Yeah, that's
well, in Alberta, you're left.
That's part of the story. That's why this is funny. Because I'm like, by the way,
you're a commie in Alberta.
I don't fucking take ivermectin. I'm not left. I fucking can read a web page, and I know that even the guys that made the fucking drug said it's not for COVID, you idiot. Right? And so the other thing that happened last week was I put up a Twitter poll, and I took a crack at Justin Trudeau, and I said, does he deserve a castle? And I know full well that 24 Sussex Drive probably needs to be renovated. Maybe now is not the time, but I did it to be a dick. And I've got the left coming after me going, you don't know what you're talking about. You need to stop.
Well, they're worse.
The thing is that the point I'm trying to make is that right now we live in this world where you get put in a box, and that's what we've done with fucking Elon Musk. it depends on what side of the fucking fence you're on, because he gets put in a different fucking box every time there's a different story about him.
That's the goal, right? The goal for everybody is to put in a box. Case in point, Elon Musk, you can say what you like about how much of a douchebag he is on his personal life and all the terrible things that he's done. There's a newspaper that went hard alt-right in California called the Babylon Bee. These were like super fascist, born-again religious zealots. And he literally took it upon himself to have them deplatformed. And they were. Right? Like, he fought just as hard against that portion of what we're talking about as he does against the fucking losers that go, you're not allowed to tweet that picture. You're not allowed to say that. Now, are the things that he tweets beyond the pale? For me, they are, but I don't have access to his Twitter account. Dude's got like 88 million followers, right? Like, he can say and do what he wants, and now he actually owns it. But the problem that I'm having is guys like Sean King are now weighing in and going, that's it. This is a white supremacist move. Case in point, this is Sean King.
This is the stupidest fucking thing I've like.
He
it's
says,
just ridiculous.
Elon Musk wanting to purchase Twitter is not about the left versus right. It's about white power. The man was raised in apartheid by white nationalists. He's upset that Twitter won't allow white nationalists to target, harass people. That's his definition of free speech. He then goes on to add insult to injury, and he's like, ask any conservative this question and watch them struggle to answer it. Since you say free speech needs to be allowed on Twitter, does that mean you believe that should be included targeted hate speech against Jews? He says, should that be allowed? And then says, since Elon Musk says all legal speech should be allowed on Twitter, is he aware that it's legal to advocate for underage sex with children? It's unethical and gross, but it is legal. Will that now be allowed? This is the virtue signaling that Twitter used to love, right? I am just as offended by Sean King reaching into the world of pedophilia to say this is a business move that's an affront to every black or marginalized or person of color on this planet. Is he a fucking asshole, Elon Musk? 100%. Is he buying this so he can maintain his ability to speak freely? Totally. But Twitter has a fucking major problem. And Twitter, as James has pointed out, has taken it upon themselves to lean the direction of their employees. Now, here's the other part of this, which I find fascinating. Their employees have been banned, as of today, from making any changes to any algorithms at all. They've been locked out of the Twitter backend completely. Because if you remember back in 2018...
By Elon Musk?
That dude... No, by Twitter. I think it's come down from Twitter. But the reason why is, if you remember back in 2018, 2019, a Twitter employee on his last date, like, deactivated Donald Trump's account when he was the fucking president.
Yeah.
Like, that's how crazy some of the people are that work there. That culture is still just as dangerous as the culture that they say they're fighting against.
That's
in
the
fact,
problem.
Worse. Right?
Yeah, that's
and
the
by the
problem
way,
I had with Twitter.
Lynn?
Was like, yeah.
Sorry, Lynn.
They do get crazy, and it's for everything you say shitty against the right wing, you'll get two people commenting. If you criticize, and I mean just a small criticism on the left, you're bombarded, and it's like this Sean King. That's absolutely ridiculous. Like, we're making, again, it's assumptions. Nobody knows what he's going to do. What's he going to do when he... maybe he doesn't change anything. Maybe he buys it, and maybe he splits it back up and puts it out again and makes it public. Who knows what he's going to do? We don't know. We're all sitting here speculating like we all know what is in Elon Musk's fucking weird, shitty brain. We don't know. Why don't we wait and see? And then, if we don't like it, we can deactivate Twitter, and we can take it right off our phones.
That's
and then,
just it.
Yeah. This is all a choice. This is a choice. We choose what we consume.
Oh, and we choose what we see, too, by blocking and muting. It's very simple. You can manage your entire experience on there. But the thing is, and this is what's fucking crazy about the left, is that they go like the woke, crazy extremists on the left. Yeah. They go nuts when there aren't, like, nanny services involved, right? They go fucking absolutely insane when the protective world doesn't close ranks around them, right?
Yeah.
Because they can't think on their own. They think that there has to be this protective world, this bubble wrap that has to go around everybody. But, dude, I said this on Twitter yesterday. I manage my experience on my own, and I'm going to still talk to people on Twitter no matter what. And here's the other thing. there's a decent opportunity that more people on Twitter, content creators, are going to make more money, that the platform is going to make more money, and that he's going to get rid of bots. Which, if he gets rid of bots, which is what he said he wants to do, authenticate all humans, get rid of bots, which is pretty simple to do. You just authenticate the person that's going in it. Bot farms never authenticate because it's just literally this fire track of like wires that go between phone and account and phone and account. I think because there are some very influential people that have Twitter accounts that are just packed with bots and very influential from that perspective. But that's a great question.
I don't really know the answer to that, but I do know that he's going to make the algorithm an open source now, so that we can all see it, so that there's no shadow banning and things like that. I don't know if you guys know what shadow banning is, but that was another thing that Twitter, they never copped to it, but I've seen experiments on online or whatever where they show certain Republicans and certain Democrats and what they tweet and what the algorithm, how much the algorithm exposes that account to like the newsfeed and to other people's newsfeeds. And there's clear evidence that they would shadow ban, which means that they would just tweak the algorithm a little bit so that someone like Ted Cruz couldn't get as much exposure for whatever batshit message that he had that day. And all the lefty newspapers in the States were like, well, we haven't seen any evidence of this at all. It's like, because they're not shadow banning you. They're only shadow banning the right. Yeah, YouTube does it as well. It's probably worth pointing out too that
Facebook does it too.
Elon Musk has said many times that I don't think he's a right winger. I think that people really have to stop. People have to stop putting people in these boxes because he has a libertarian streak, but I don't see him in the same vein as I see the craziest libertarian, hardline libertarians. He's a free market capitalist. But free speech is not a right-wing idea. It's a very left-wing idea. And I don't know what happened, but we have decided that our politeness has to trump free speech. And I don't agree with that. And I lean left on most things. And as far as free speech goes, it's still a left-wing principle. Like, it's not a right-wing idea. And how that got all flipped, I don't really know, but I would guess it's because the woke crowd kind of made it so like, oh, you can't see that, oh, you can't see that, oh, you can't see that. And so people thought of free speach as like a dog whistle for right winger, and it's just not the case.
It's funny because I put up a video.
It started to combat the left wokes, because when they didn't like something, they were
it's
like
up to guys like us to do that, right? Like, we've maintained a lot of the tenets of people on that side of the equation, not the extremists, but like the common sense portion of it, right? It's going to be up to people like us to be able to fucking talk common sense back to these people. Last week, I put out a video of Justin Trudeau talking softly and self-aggrandizing something. I put it out. I'm like, this guy needs to stop doing that shit. That's all I said. It was a steady stream of people going, true colors are coming out. You're a neocon asshole. Like, it was the same. You should be deplatformed. I got one of those because I'm like, fuck, this guy's an absolute lunatic. Get rid of him, which I truly do believe. And I think he is a huge source of that. And let me get to that in just a second. The entire country cannot stand that man. Whether you're right wing or left wing, whether you're conservative, whether you're liberal, whether you're NDP or Green Party, fuck it. All of you that identify like that, by the way, ought to shampoo crotches in your spare time. If you identify as left, right, liberal, conservative, NDP, or if you use that to tell people who you are in your Twitter profile, you're the lowest fucking form of human being online. Just so you know. Yeah. I'm this, and that's who I'm giving me to, because I can't think for myself. You're probably a fucking vegan. And
don't trust them.
You probably don't wear any leather either. It's just, I never trust anybody that doesn't wear leather or eat meat. Anyway, long story short, my point is this. When we think about the left or the right, we automatically think of the left as the area, or the right, or the group of people that are here to save us from Nazism, fascism, all those things that do exist, right? They do. But for some reason, we don't pay attention to the fucking terrible things that they do as well. Like, they've got no problem getting into my DMs and saying they hope I die because I said something bad about their boy Justin Trudeau, who I can't fucking stand, right? I think if he resigns, if he just calls it a day and says, you know what, I'm out, the country needs to heal, too many fucking people hate me, we'd be about 90% happier as individuals.
Why is it okay for you to say it and not me?
Well, because I
you
don't
say it
hate
all
the guy.
day, every day.
Yeah, it's all.
But you know what would happen?
all you
Christia
say.
Freeland would
Every day.
become prime minister, and then
Yeah.
every last piece of criticism that went her way would be called misogyny forever.
I can't wait for that. I would rather have a weeks full
I'll
of
take that.
misogynist comments. As
what
opposed
Where do I
to-
sign up?
Right,
But it
like-
wouldn't be necessarily misogyny.
But like, if
That's
you
what I'm
ask
saying.
anybody in this panel, do any of us like how Justin Trudeau acts? Do any of us like the fucking collar that gets put around Canadians because we've got this virtue signaling fuck in the Prime Minister's office? Not one of us do, I don't think. I could be wrong. Linz, no, James, and we're
You're
we
gonna
lead
but-
four different ways.
But the problem is we have a way to deal with that, and we have for years and years and years, and they're called elections. And it didn't work the last election. It didn't work the election before that, and it didn't work the election. So you know what? We can sit here and say this all we want. It doesn't fucking matter. It's what you can think that 90% of Canada doesn't like him and wants him, but that's just not true. So we can't bandy that around. Is he a shithead? Yeah. Is he a virtue signaling fucking douchebag? Yeah. Is he a horrible fucking leader? Really? Is he a horrible leader? Like,
Yes.
Are we gonna be better with Pierre Poilievre? Are we?
No.
But that doesn't mean he's a good leader either.
No, it
Just
doesn't.
there's
but,
a worse leader standing in the background.
But we're not. But
That's why he's been getting through, Lindsay. It's been a choice.
We're not addressing the problem, and that's putting the right people in those seats to run for those elections.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So we can put a liberal in there that we all can agree on, that we enjoy and that we think is good for the, whatever. But exactly. So we're just going to sit here and we're going to waste breath. We're going to fucking get angry and we're going to, call them a bunch of names, which I think is great for content. So leave them in there. I don't give a fuck.
But
nothing's going to change.
Wouldn't we? Because Lachlan, you like to say this a lot. That you hate all politicians, and that's true. I don't hate all of them, most of them, but we are a leaderless country. So it sometimes doesn't even matter who we say we're going to put in there, because it's like choosing between fucking syphilis and crabs.
Where this comes together for me is what Trudeau's trying to do to online speech. He's trying to regulate online speech right now. Yeah. And he's also giving billions of dollars to his mainstream media friends at CTV, Rogers, TELUS, etc. Quebec or Torstar is getting a bunch of money. They know it. They spike stories on behalf of it. He's just as much of a fucking criminal, but he's a criminal with a smile on his face that doesn't partake in the insulting, hateful rhetoric that the other side does. So you've got two sets of criminals. One of them happens to be running the country, and he's thankfully stepped back a little bit and allowed some strong women to be able to take the reins when it comes to international leadership and stuff here at home a little bit. But he's just SNC Lavalin. He's just as much of a criminal. Dude hides information because he doesn't want people to know what he's doing. And what he is doing is trying to prevent people from speaking out against him as well. It is the same shit. It's just a different party, and they have a smile on their face while they're cutting off your arm to steal your watch.
That's part of that
same
virtue,
thing.
that virtuous, the virtuous signaling that he does. He's doing it on behalf of Canadians, but no, he's really doing it on behalf of, like, anytime he was somebody tried to investigate him for something, or it was quashed, right? So
we scandal. I mean,
we scandal was here. That's so fucking atrocious. That one.
Yeah, and that just got worse and worse and worse. And even if it wasn't under his control, he facilitated it and he allowed it to continue. And just putting his name in there, it was bad enough. I don't know. I think we have a problem in this country, and it's bipartisan problem, and it's like it's on both sides. And I think we all have armchair ideas, and nobody has any actual solutions.
Well, and that's part of the frustration for me, Linz.
You know what I mean?
And that's where I was going with the ivermectin conversation. Mm-hmm. One day I'm this overly woke liberal who doesn't accept the responsibility of what ivermectin could do for COVID because I'm left wing. I'm like, you're an idiot. And then the next day because I'm criticizing Justin Trudeau for wanting a new castle.
Right.
I'm being attacked by the left for being a crazy right winger. Like that's the world we live in, and that's what happens with Elon Musk. I see it every day, and that's why I'm so confused. I'm like, can you guys pick a reason why we don't want him to own Twitter? Because I'm hearing two different things. Like, and every day
it's turning into the KKK. Don't you know that, Sean?
Well, that's what they're saying. They're thinking the minute that he takes the keys, all of a sudden,
he's going to direct the entire platform at like 10% of the world.
Banners of the N-word will be all over your phone.
Oh my God!
It's going to be
but
the Holocaust didn't exist all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not just people that are saying that too. I was watching a Rachel Maddow clip before I came on, and she was like, a lot of people like free speech, but then next thing you know, child porn is on Twitter.
Oh, they always go there. Always. This is now the left's turn to go there, right? That's their turn to talk about pedophilia being the big
and I'm just like, what? Where is this coming? And the other guy that she tossed it to was like, Rachel, that's more than fair. What? Yeah. It's not fair at all. It's the exact opposite of that. And to your point, Lachlan, welcome to the club. I'm sure this has happened to you before, but I've been part of the left and the right hate me depending on whether it's Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah. And I used to think, and I think we've talked about this a bunch of times, guys, is that we all like to think or conceptualize that we're in the middle and that the biggest portion of Canadians are probably in the middle. Unfortunately, many of that middle is comprised of, I don't want to use the term useful idiots, but of people who are, unbeknownst to them, carrying water for one side or the other because of the way that they react when they hear keywords that indicate to them that the person they're talking to is alt-right, when really they're just criticizing someone that they like.
Well,
so there's all these people that don't realize they're doing it.
There's a distinct possibility. I want everybody to just kind of be shocked for a second because this might blow your minds. There's a distinct possibility you can have your own set of thoughts that have nothing to do with politics. There's a distinct possibility that individual human beings could operate according to their own sets of values, have like something the conservatives say, like something the liberals say, like something the NDP say, and like something the Green Party. And guess what? It doesn't make them a traitor or an asshole or alt-right or alt-left. You know what it makes them? My friend. It's exclusively friends with those people. I will not be friends with someone who's like, I can't believe you voted for that guy. Go fuck yourself. Because you just vote according to the shit that your dad told you were supposed to believe in when you were a kid. And chances are that has something to do with religion. And it also chances are that you're a fucking idiot who can't think for themselves.
You know what? It's interesting. I think you can use the term, James, useful idiot. Douglas, did you watch yesterday's podcast? Because we had Douglas on from the True Eating Beaver.
True North
what is
Eager,
it?
No, not True Eating Beaver. No, that's a different.
I've been on that show.
Totally different porn.
Anyway,
that'll be allowed on Twitter next week.
He actually, I've seen a little bit of. I've seen some crazy things on Twitter.
Oh, porn's on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah. Every once in a while, somebody in Edmonton tags their no, not locker room. That's a whole other conversation. No, YEG traffic, which is what we use to check to make sure there's any traffic issues. Because Twitter is like instantaneous. Somebody will like YEG, but every once in a while you'll get like a hardcore porn thing like come up on my feed. I got this thing tweet deck.
I'm on Twitter the other day. I'm on Twitter and I see someone like one of my tweets, right? And I'm like, that's weird. It's like a weird, like, lens. It's like this weird picture. And sometimes, when you see a bunch of colors in like a profile picture, you'll click on it to see what it is. And I click on it and I looked at her first tweet. It's like, hey boys, I'm in Toronto tonight. Come give me your cum. And it's just her laying on her back with a spread eagle and you can see everything. And I'm like, how is it that a guy I know got banned forever for putting up pictures of knives that he makes on Twitter, yet this person can show a bunch of stuff leaking out of her spread eagle on Twitter? Like, that was one of those. That was a moment for me where I'm like, Twitter's busted. Like, this is not cool. And and Sean King is sitting there going, I can't believe they want to change it. I'm like, I can, you fucking loser, for sure.
Anyway, back to James's comment about this middle and this representation of the middle and all of our angst about not being represented. We are useful idiots. We're carrying water for the fucking both sides now. because what we've done is, and I've been doing this, and I've been beating myself up for it for months now. I'm so anti-politics, so angry at politics that I am sitting here thinking I'm not going to fucking vote anymore. I'm going to spoil my... That's exactly what they fucking want. Douglas made an excellent point. He said, you want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And by them focusing so aggressively on one side, the right or the left, what they do is they hope also to piss off the middle to the point where they're not going to do anything, because they don't want that middle putting in a vote. So not only are they stroking the balls of the hard of the right or the left.
Wait, hold on. How do you stroke balls?
That's the shot. Okay,
all right. This is more of a ball. Okay, it's more of a juggle,
like rolling dice or something.
They are like this Pierre. He's got the right wing right in his fucking hands. Okay,
he doesn't care about winning. Just so everybody knows,
he does care about winning. He thinks he's going to win, and you know what? It's strategic, Ryan. Strategic. He has pissed me off so much that I can't even possibly imagine voting for the right, because I don't want to be embarrassed by telling people that I actually voted for that dick. Now he's won, because I'm so mad I might not even vote for the left because I can't stand Justin. They've done this to us on purpose. They've created this environment in this country.
It used to be the opposite. It was the opposite for like a century or whatever. Oh, I'm sorry.
Please
go ahead.
I wasn't going to stop anyways.
To the lady.
Thank you.
Go, James.
Shut up.
We catered to the middle for a half century at least. The conservatives were called progressive conservatives. The liberals were centrists. They were socially liberal, fiscally conservative, and they could trade parties if they wanted to, because they were kind of the same, because they occupied that middle space. I don't know when it happened in Canada. I really have no idea, but we stopped probably when the Progressive Conservative became the Reform Party, and then the Canadian Alliance Party, and then finally the Conservatives. They just ate away, and they neglected the middle, and they went harder to the right. And then Trudeau, who was supposed to be that, the Liberals were supposed to be that sensible centrist party, were like, let's steal the progressive bona fides from the NDP and become a leftist party, at least on the surface. And, and that's where we are now. We're polarized because of that.
Juggling the balls, if you will.
That's right.
Juggling the balls. Speaking of ball juggling, we got a bunch of them coming on this weekend. Oh, yeah, sorry. Go ahead, and then we'll get to the Rolling Thunder. Yeah, no problem. I've got no problem with you guys deciding what happens here. Go ahead, Ryan.
Just wanted to take my time that I was afforded, and then it was Rob.
Over to Ryan.
I'm sorry.
What was me? See that I'm making myself an underdog, and what that means is if you were to donate to somebody that's starving on the street, or somebody that's sitting in a restaurant eating, you donate to the guy on the street. The same thing happens in politics. Locke, to what I was saying about he doesn't care if he wins, he doesn't, because they make more money when they are the underdog trying to oust somebody else in power.
Oh, the victim.
So yes, of course he's going to show up, and they would love to win, I'm sure, but he's gonna make more money losing, because he's just gonna come back twice as hard next time. And we're going to get him this time, guys. We're going to get him. It's like Lucy in the football with the conservatives. It's Lucy in the football every fucking time. And Charlie Brown keeps kicking at that ball, thinking it's our turn. It's our turn.
So he kind of hopes he loses.
Really good analogy.
It's a fucking great way to explain it. So what you're saying is flywheel shit. He kind of hopes that he loses because he can keep painting himself as a victim and get more money.
You got it.
That's
how this works.
Yeah.
Explain that again. So Pierre Poilievre wants to lose.
I'm not saying he wants to lose. I'm saying he's not upset if he does lose, and it's because because it's a silver lining. The silver lining is they make more money.
He can shoehorn idiots into thinking that he got fucked and it was all rigged, and he can do what Trump did at the end of it. It was like, you got to pay. I got fucked.
Remember how fucking blown away we were about the amount of money that the convoy raised? There's a reason for that, because the victim is getting the money. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Not the person that's already, like Justin Trudeau. I'll guarantee you. You know what? I'd probably put money on the fact that if you looked at the campaign finances, I'll bet you that the conservatives, the new Roger Stone party, and whoever else happens to be running on the right will make collectively more money than the liberals will this time around. Guaranteed.
Interesting. Fascinating. Yeah, I haven't thought of it in those terms, but yeah, in a
That's very
climate
smart.
where being a victim is legitimately an entrepreneurial idea. Like, you know, we see it all the time. Help me because I can't feed so-and-so. Help me because I can't. I got fucked. You got to give me money. I got fucked.
But I can't do it without your help.
It's an industry.
Yeah.
Victimhood is an industry. This is what you're seeing. It's the birth of victimhood as an industry in North America. And fuck, do the conservatives ever do it really, really well. Speaking of victims, and I do want to get onto this, Ryan. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, please
That's
go
a
ahead.
brilliant analogy, Ryan. That was like the fucking
well
the guy
done,
in the
Ryan.
restaurant and the guy outside begging for. Yeah, the Conservative Party is the bum on the street right now begging
But
for
they always
your
make
change.
more money. They always raise more money than all the other parties combined. So that's, you know.
And they keep losing. Man, do they suck ass.
It's like the Leafs of politics.
So this is happening. The Leafs of politics. Rolling Thunder is happening this weekend in Ottawa. Despite
baby oil,
yeah, the Canestin. Get your fucking antibiotics. Let's go. Let's go, everybody.
Chaps, the assless chaps.
I was thinking about it. What's the only vehicle on the road that's louder than a Riggs air horn? Anyone?
A motorbike?
Motorcycle with an aftermarket muffler on it. Yeah, and there are hundreds of them scheduled to arrive in Ottawa this weekend. So the express goal for these guys, again, they haven't said on their fucking ridiculously terrible website, they haven't said what they're going for. They're just going. Now, yesterday, the Ottawa police said, yeah, come on in, no problem, but we're going to block off the entire downtown from vehicles because vehicles are not allowed to be used in a protest. And today, this fucking idiot who's organized, his name's Neil Sheard, is like, not only are we going to come down there with our bikes, if you don't let us go to the War Memorial, all hell's going to break loose. Watch this. This is nice.
The bikes are coming 29th and 30th of April. It's called Rolling Thunder, Ottawa. Be here. This goes to all my Craig buddies on the left side, and anybody else in Canada that can make it here. Be here. 29th and the 30th. They think trucks are allowed. Wait till you get thousands of bikes in town. Amazing. Thank you. God bless.
Now, the trucks weren't allowed, even though they went there, because Ottawa police fucked it up. They said they've learned their lesson. They blocked the entire downtown core off. Then this asshat, Neil Sheard is his name. He's a former veteran, so thank you for your service. He's also lost his fucking mind. He's one of those guys, I don't know if he's part of the Mefloquin suit, but he's fucked just like the rest of these fucking losers. What's that? Yeah, no, he is. He's yeah, very, very much Jeremy McKenzie-esque, but he's got a little bit more on the ball. So this is him in conversation with Evan Solomon today. I think Evan did an interview with him, and I got to give Evan some credit, even though he works for
Evan's doing some good work.
Douchebag enterprise at Bell and CTV. He is absolutely in his element in making sure that he actually gets people the news. He was great with that Russian diplomat the other day. I don't know if you guys saw that, but this is Evan. He got to Neil Sheard and had to ask him a couple questions, and I want you to listen to his responses. This is fucking.
Does this have any connection to the vaccine issue, the anti-vaxxer issue, the anti-vaccine mandate issue? And is there any relationship to that, or is this purely about veterans?
Purely about veterans.
If it's purely about veterans, why is your featured speaker a guy named Chris Sky?
Hold on. He has nothing to do with this.
Isn't he? It's on your website, Rolling Thunder. Chris Sky's a featured speaker. I'm looking at it.
He's not a feature in this. He's got nothing to do with this.
Is he not speaking at the rally?
No, he's not speaking. He is not speaking on that monument. He may be off somewhere else speaking, but he has nothing.
So it says Rolling Thunder Ottawa official. I'm just looking at the schedule. Is this your website, rollingthunder.ottawa.com?
Yeah, and that is a situation of what is happening for the day.
I know, but he's supposedly 2 p.m. rally and march at Parliament Hill with special guest speaker Chris Sky. Is he part of it?
No.
Not anymore.
That's very Roger Stone-esque. Deny. Do it, but deny it. Deny.
It's an anti-vax thing. That's all it is.
Knows.
It's the same fucking douchebags, only with motorcycles this time. It's the same fucking stupid, redneck, racist, neo-Christian hillbilly fucksticks that showed up in Ottawa for a couple of weeks in February. These are just the motorcycle versions. Some of them are veterans. None of them deserve your respect. If the idea is to go down and be assholes again and treat people to a terrible weekend in that city, not one of them. So they can all fuck off. Every single one of them. This is not about protesting. This is not about rights. They don't have any. They have the same ones we all have that we all live happily under because we have reasonable limits in our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. We're not fucking morons. These guys are, and I hope I see some videos at the end of the week of these guys trying to press the issue. And I hope I see, an Ottawa police officer, maybe of color, just beat the shit out of these guys. Over and over again. I know it's a bad look. I know I'm taking the low road with this conversation, but I want billy clubs. I want to see people piss themselves when they get tasers.
I want more horses.
I want it all. When I see that guy use veterans as, use our war dead as a fucking in to be a cock,
a Trojan,
I have a problem, and I think we all should.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong, but I think that one of the things we should be able to walk away from after what happened in February and a couple of weeks into March with the convoy is that at the end of the day, that did end fairly peacefully. Like it had a very Canadian ending to it.
That had nothing to do with the people who were there, dude. They weren't peaceful for fucking a month. They were.
What would have happened? What would have happened if it ended violently?
No one died. No one got shot. No one got billy clubbed in front of.
You guys have you guys gone and actually not trolled, but gone through their socials and gone through their website to see what the actual mandate of this is, or no?
I have tried and I have found nothing.
There's nothing. There's nothing there.
There's nothing.
It's a very open-ended. Veterans. So I don't understand what they're protesting. If they're protesting veteran affairs, okay, I get that. You know what? You're not doing yourself a favor if you're doing that. Is you're literally storming a city that just got over this. Your PR sucks, and nobody knows what the fuck you're doing. So maybe be a little more clear in your statement of why you're going to protest. Because yes, you do have the right to protest. Your cars and bikes don't have the right to protest. You do. On your feet. Go. Absolutely. 100%. But now that we learned that somebody else got the permit, hopefully that puts a fucking wrench in this, because that's going to be great.
That's another thing. Can't you have two protests at the same time? Can't you both get a
they
permit?
Can deny.
No, they don't let that happen because of the fighting.
The second one. Yeah.
And the billy clubs
fighting. Yeah, billy clubs. Guys getting tased, pissing themselves. Yeah. Taking a dump in their own pants.
I'm on board with the tasering.
Thank you.
The billy clubs, because I find tasering funny, because there is an outside chance that a body function will let loose. Right? Yeah.
It's almost certain. 80% of people will get pissed, tased, pissed, or they shit themselves.
They shit themselves. Yeah. 80%? Is it that high?
It's that high.
Okay, I'm all for tasering. Man.
Oh, yeah, dude. We're going to see some people piss themselves this week.
I just read their statement, and you're right. Their entire Rolling Thunder statement is all about what they're not going to do.
Yep.
We're not going to put up blockades. We're not going to disturb the peace. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. But it doesn't say anything about what they're there for. Yeah, I wonder if we just ignore them. Ridiculous. Because as much as I like the Schadenfreude Dean, I try to look ahead at these things. Okay, what would happen if we did a thought experiment? What would happen if they all go there and they start, rushing the war monument or whatever the fuck?
Yep.
And then they start getting the shit beat out of them. Every single time a skull gets cracked, Polyev gets closer to being elected next time. That's just the way I look at it.
Or, stay with me for this one.
Hold on.
Or we get content for miles.
I was just getting.
And hang on, not quite done.
Yeah.
And that side of the equation starts to take the law a little more fucking seriously. And they stop pretending that Jesus Christ is their only authority. And they can do whatever the fuck they want, whenever they want, however they want, while the rest of us are trying to be good citizens and act in the interest of the greater good. There's that possibility. And if that happens, if they are held to the letter of the law, like Lachlan said, can you imagine the piss videos? My God.
I agree with what James said. I agree with his sentiment. I think that would probably, well, I'm just saying it would probably be a good idea. But the problem is, mainstream media is not going to let this go. This is free. This is like a free for all. Just like
I'm
Windsor
excited.
and Ottawa were.
You guys, listen, do we have a cultural problem in this country? Yes. But this weekend is content fucking city. That's all it is to me. Kareem is going there. We're having a powwow tomorrow. She's going to actually be on the program and talk to us about it. Excuse me for saying powwow. I should not have said that. Just a slip of the tongue. One of those things. And I apologize. But let me just say this, is that she's going to be on the show tomorrow with Mark Borey. Mark Borey, who covered this whole thing, he's a great lawyer up in Ottawa. He's going to be on the program as well. And we're going to hash this thing out. We're going to find out how this whole thing goes. But the one thing I do know that Kareem is doing is she's teaming up with us again to have some convoy fun this weekend. And I can't wait because the stuff that we saw go on a couple of months ago is going to happen again to a smaller extent. And we're going to continue to put that on display for people so that you can clearly see what you shouldn't be doing to your fellow Canadians.
I like the idea that Chris Sky's speaking at this.
Same.
Because I've missed him.
What's going to happen?
Can we just taser Chris Sky?
Can I
put in a request?
Yeah. With the Ottawa Police Service?
Just taser him.
For everybody.
But
anytime
over
somebody
and
else does
over
something
again.
wrong, hit
Bucket
him.
of water on him. He'll be shirtless, right? Because it's warm. Fire a couple of fucking tasers at his chest.
Not bad.
The one thing those big bad tough bikers don't like is rain. So we can hope for rain and see what happens.
Or one of those famous Ottawa Valley April blizzards that we
yeah, that would be good too.
That'd be nice.
But they
I've snowblowed twice in April, and
I think we're gonna see the same thing that we saw in Ottawa the last time with the truckers. This is going to be a bunch of people going just to see what's going on because there's obviously everybody talking about it. There's going to be people there that have the right intention but the wrong facts backing it. And then we're going to see the handful of the fucking idiots. And those fucking idiots are what this is going to make this amazing.
Right.
So,
yeah,
it's going to just be another I Hate Trudeau salad bar.
That's what this is.
It's so funny how we all hate Trudeau, but we just are like, I don't want to be part of that salad bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Those are the people. Let me just kind of. Those are the same people who, when I drop my food on the floor, I'll pick it up, dust it off, and if it's no good, I'll just throw it out and make something else. Those are the people who might drop food on the floor that look up, start crying, and they look for a gun to shoot themselves in the head because they can't believe they dropped the food on the floor. That's how useless these people are. That's how fucking egregiously dumb these people are. And you know what? Again, it goes without saying, the church service and the Jesus fucking themed fucking over the whole convoy. These are all religious losers too. I mean, they can go fuck themselves, all of them. But that's just my fun. It's gonna be a fun.
Jesus did kind of look like a biker. I don't think he could bike around in that dress that he wore, but
yeah, that's true.
We get caught in the spokes.
Yeah. Thanks, boys. That was fun.
It's good to see you guys.
That was
really good to see you guys today.
I'm gonna go research porno Tony the Tiger. I want to know more about that. That sounds interesting.
I'll send you all the links I have, and there's a lot.
He frosted his own flakes.
Yeah,
that's right.
Frosted flakes. I also like to. I'd like to take this moment to pat myself on the back for getting the Elon Musk shit story on the air in Edmonton today without actually saying it. Lachlan, thank you for doing that.
Are you guys fucking with me?
What?
Is he into the shitting thing on your chest?
They want him to be so bad. They want him to be.
No, he is.
Ryan, are you fucking with me?
No,
it's true.
That's a true story.
Yeah,
that is at least a valid rumor that is circulating out of.
Can I tell you what I did this morning? I said,
I like how you went from fact to valid rumor.
Valid rumor.
It's alternative fact.
I went on the air today and I said, has anybody heard any rumors about Elon Musk? Because you guys keep fucking every day. I come on this podcast and there's like a new, one day he likes this. Next thing he's got girls shitting on him. It's every, and I'm like, I'm not hearing any of this. So I went on the air.
Are you
and
Googling
not
correctly?
One fucking person.
Free speech.
Not one person except Lynn's texted in about the poo thing. That's it.
You want to hear how I got it on? My exact words were, I've heard a lot of crappy things about him, but it possibly could just be crap information being dumped on us. He should probably poo-poo it if it's fake.
Did you read that?
We read it on the air, yes.
Attaboy, yeah.
Lachlan, thanks for the merch stuff. And tomorrow I'm gonna just let you know, guys. I'm gonna publish the latest in the Johnny Depp stuff. Oh my God, have you guys been watching, Dean?
How can you watch it?
I stopped watching it.
Well, I can watch it. And also, I found a tweet of mine from 2017 that was like, pretty sure Amber Heard is the abusive one here. Someone sent it to me, and I was like, holy shit, that was good. I was on the ball that day.
I love how somehow at the end of every show, Lachlan finds a way to talk about
bring up poo.
Yeah.
Poo. Yeah.
Always. One of these days, we're going to get through an entire show.
No, we're not.
It's not going to sit. Okay. Well, there you
I
go.
had a moment today, too, where I was like, because this morning I got up and I asked the guys, we got a contest that we're starting next week where we're giving away bidets. It's a bidet a day in May.
Even his radio contest.
Bidet a day in May.
So every day for the month of May, we're giving away a bidet from our plumber sponsor, Always Plumbing and Heating.
Mm-hmm.
And I told the boys, I said, I want to do a contest where they have to guess whose toilet it is. And so I said, I need you guys to send me audio recording of you flushing your toilet. But then I added a wrinkle into it. We're gonna have two different versions of the toilet. And Jimmy's fighting me on this. Sounds the same if it's full of shit or pee. Doesn't make any difference. I'm like, well, we'll be the judge of that. So this morning at 3:30 in the morning, I am audio recording myself flushing a shit. And I'm like sitting there on the toilet going, I'm 52 years of age. And I just recorded my toilet making a noise.
That's one way to make a splash, Lachlan.
Hello. James is asking if he can go. Yes, he can.
Get out of here.
Very much, everybody. Can I go with you?
Yeah.
There's the question.
By the way, that contest starts on Monday.
Can't wait. 957cruisefm.ca is where you can listen to that bidet a day.
May.
Imagine that, an entire promotional contest on your show around taking the shit. Congratulations.
Well, it rhymed too.
Yeah, thank you.
It's brilliant.
Got it. At Lachlan Cross on Twitter is where you can find him as well. 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, brother. That is James D. Fiore, Blackballed the podcast. Go and download it and listen to it wherever you get your fine podcasts. Really appreciate you being here. I'll keep an eye out for that Johnny Depp piece. Can't wait.
Okay, good.
Really can't wait. Thanks, buddy. Mm-hmm. That is Ryan Lindley, Sheeple Shepherd Podcast. Download it, subscribe. You can follow him on Twitter as well, at Ryan Lindley. Thanks, pal.
Thanks, buddy. Take care.
You bet. Talk to you soon. Ryan Lindley, James D. Fiore, Lachlan Cross. Tomorrow on the program, best-selling author, lawyer, Mark Borey is going to join us. Maybe the smartest constitutional dude on the planet. So anyway, we're going to chat with him about the Ottawa stuff. And Kareem Assad is going to join us as well. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff, including her fight for fucking normalcy in this world. It's going to be fun. Do. Anyway, thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow on this very program right around 3 o'clock. Thanks to our friends and sponsors over at Easy Auto Financial, making it easy for you to get into a vehicle. EasyAutoFinancial.ca. Again, EasyAutoFinancial.ca. They get financing for you and then find the car and the dealer that has the car that you want. And then they'll take care of everything from there, too. No obligation at all. Doesn't cost you a dime. They don't charge you for a thing. Go to EasyAutoFinancial.ca for more details today. Also, our friends at Domination, people that make AI for podcasters, streamers, gamers, and such. And it's super easy way for you to do promos. All kinds of different stuff. It's AI for content producers online. And in your world, this will save you 10 hours a week. Guaranteed. Try it today for free. Go to dmntn.com if you produce content. These guys have got your back. I love them. And Ed's Fine Imports is Gitch. We use them. You can too. EdsFineImports.com is where you can find luxury branded underwear, boxer briefs, pouch in the front, super breathable, great waistband, and they're Canadian made, if I haven't mentioned that. EdsFineImports.com, Canadian made Gitch, GITCH is your promo code for these luxury boxer briefs with the pouch in the front. And they've got an incredible online store, clothing for men and boys. Go to edsfineimports.com. Don't forget to sign up for a newsletter. Subscribe wherever you can subscribe to anything that we do, including at YouTube, Dean Blundell Show on YouTube, Dean Blundell TV on Twitch, Google, Spotify, Apple, etc. For the audio versions of this, you can follow us on Twitter at It's Dean Blundell or D Blundell Show as well. Have a great day. Thanks for being part of the program. See you tomorrow. Bye.